it's your girl Missniecytv, and I'm here to do a review for Sistas Season 8, Episode 13. Episode picks up where we left off, and everybody's still at the hospital, and Zach is like, say that shit again about me being a bad role model. Karen's like, you heard me, I didn't say her. That's when Karen tries to get out of her wheelchair, and Fatima's like, no, I got it. She's like, Zach, what you gonna do, beat him inside the hospital? Fatima, this would actually be a good place for him to get beat up, because he would get immediate care. Zach did tell her no. He's like, my bad. Fatima's like, it's both y'all bad, and I'm not the one that y'all need to be apologizing. Aaron and Zach both apologize to Karen, and this is when the doctor comes out, and he's like, see, this is what I told Miss Mott that she doesn't need to be dealing with. This is the stress that she doesn't need to be dealing with, and whatever issues you have, y'all need to talk it out like adults and grow up. Once the doctor leaves, Aaron volunteers to take Karen home, and Zach is like, her car's at my house, genius. Really, Zach? Aaron's like, we'll get it tomorrow. Karen and these babies need peace and quiet. Zach is like, what you saying? I'm loud? Fatima looks at him, and she's like, yeah. Zach is like, when did you become an expert on what babies need? Karen's like, since I've been arguing with your trifling ass. Which landed the mother of my child in the hospital. Karen's like, that's enough. What happened to us being a village? Now it's my baby, this, my baby, that. Actually, you know what? These my babies. And y'all not gonna ruin this. Karen's like, Aaron, let's go. You volunteered to take me home, right? So let's go. They leave, and Zach was like, what did I do? Was I wrong? And Fatima just looks at him, and she leaves. We're at the hospital. Aiden and Andy are still dealing with the news that they heard about Penelope being arrested for Gary's stabbing. Andy's like, this can't be right. Aiden's like, so the police think that Penelope stabbed Gary. Looks like you're off the hook, Andy. Andy's basically like, gloating in somebody's misfortune shows a sign of low character. Karma's a B. Aiden's like, just like you, but the only difference is you're unemployed. Andy's like, screw you, Aiden. Aiden's like, I would love to, but I gotta get back to work and handle your caseload since you're not there. Aiden's like, something about a scandal-prone attorney. And he's like, take your victory lap, I they last longer than your erection. Aiden's like, just because they arrested Penelope for Gary's stabbing, don't think you have to hook, because from what I heard at the firm, you're a liability. Once Aiden leaves, Andy makes a call to somebody, and she's like, pick up, I gotta see you. Over at Danny's, Sabrina's there helping her through the aftermath of the panic attack. Danny went to go take a shower, and Sabrina's lighting candles for her so that she can relax. Danny's like, where you get them candles from? Sabrina's like, I got them from a fundraiser I did. Sabrina notices that Danny's tired, so she tells her to get in bed. Danny's like, are you gonna tuck me in? Sabrina's like, yeah, and I'll put your bonnet on too. Sabrina's like, if you need anything, I'll be here. And he's like, you don't need to stay on that rinky-dink couch. Sabrina's like, it's okay, I'm not going anywhere. So Sabrina goes over to the couch and she calls Rich, and she's basically like, I'm still mad at you for telling Tony about Danny. And Rich is like, I'm sorry, but if the shoe was on the other foot and something happened to you, I would want to know. Sabrina's like, I understand that, and I understand that you're loyal to your boys, but I'm also very loyal to my girls. Rich is like, we gotta talk to Jordan. Sabrina's like, about what? He's like, you didn't hear the news? Penelope got arrested for Gary's stabbing. Sabrina decides to make Danny some chamomile tea, and Danny's like, I got some sweetener in the cabinet. Sabrina goes to check the cabinet, and all she finds is some vanilla vodka, right? And Sabrina's like, this is not sweetener. Danny's like, this is only sweetener I know. Sabrina's like, that's okay, because I already put honey in it. Danny's like, honey Jack? Sabrina's like, Sabrina asked Danny about the nightmare she had, and Danny basically tells her it was about a nightmare about me putting all my vices away. And when I went to go put them away, the vices were shaking the cabinets like, come get me, right? But she was choking on weed smoke, and when she opened the cabinets, it was her exes drinking the vodka. They were also smoking the weed too. And as Danny is talking to Sabrina, she notices that Sabrina keeps looking at her phone. Danny's like, I can tell something's wrong, so just tell me. Sabrina's like, well, Karen was in the hospital last night. Danny's like, why you still sitting here? We gotta go, and I gotta get changed out these pajamas. Sabrina's like, she's fine, she got discharged. It was a false labor, but there's more. Danny's like, lay it on me. Sabrina's like, well, Penelope got arrested for Gary's stabbing. Danny's like, well, that checks out. She definitely had a motive. Over at Karen's, Karen and Aaron finally made it back to the house, and the first question that Aaron asks is, do you need anything? Do you want me to go to the store? Aaron's like, you sure you're alright? Karen's like, yeah, feel for yourself. So Aaron feels her stomach, and he's like, one of the babies just kicked me, and they kicked me hard. That must be Zach's child. Aaron's like, too soon. Aaron's like, I'm sorry about earlier. I just saw red when I heard that it was Zach stressing you out again. Karen's like, it was okay. It was probably my fault. And Aaron's like, what you mean? Karen's like, well, he was texting me all day long about this baby stuff, and he even told me not to breastfeed our baby. Aaron's like, well, that's wild. Aaron's like, well, I shouldn't have went over there because it drives Fatima crazy. Aaron's like, well, is that why you did it? Karen's like, I used to do that, but I just wanted to talk to him this time. Aaron's like, did something happen for it to trigger forced labor? Karen's like, no, just usual stress. But actually, Karen had a flashback of Fatima telling her that she was pregnant. She has the audacity to open her mouth and say, even though you and Zach almost came to blows earlier, I'm glad that you were there to defend me. Aaron's like, I will always defend you and our babies. Aaron, there's no our. Even though Karen is carrying two babies in her womb at the same time. you have a baby back here, and Zach has. Aaron goes to kiss her, and as he goes to kiss her, Miss Lisa walks in. Miss Lisa's like, Aaron, I'm here, and it looks like I'm just in time. Aaron, I wasn't expecting to see you here. Aaron's like, well, Aaron offered to bring me home. Miss Lisa's like, sorry I'm late, I was wrapping up camping trip. Karen's like, it's okay, I was in good hands. Aaron's like, you were in great hands. Lisa's like, when you were on the phone, you said it was Braxton Hicks. Karen's like, yeah, that's what the doctor said. Miss Lisa's like, well, I know all about him, I had him with you. Karen's like, me and the babies are fine, all I need is peace and quiet. And then Miss Lisa's like, that's exactly what you gonna get. Aaron, you can go. Aaron's like, okay, I'll be back tomorrow. Miss Lisa's like, before you come, please call. Aaron leaves, and Karen's like, why were you so mean to Aaron, Mom? Miss Lisa's like, well, you were the one that said you wanted Aaron to respect your boundaries. Aaron's like, well, I'm thinking about loosening up my boundaries when it comes to Aaron. Miss Lisa's like, when did that happen? Karen's like, well, you know when he brought the stroller to the salon and he told me off? Miss Lisa's like, yeah, I was sitting right there. Karen's like, well, I'm starting to see him in a different light. Miss Lisa's like, well, does that light have to do anything with Zach? Karen's like, everything doesn't have to do with Zach. Miss Lisa's like, normally with you. Lisa's like, when I was pregnant, I was always hormonal and ready to get it on. Does it have to do anything with that? She's like, or are you falling back in love with Karen? Didn't answer the question because she already knows what the answer to it. Karen just wants to get knocked down. As Zach and Fatima notices that something's wrong with Zach. And Zach is like, I think I'm gonna be a good dad. And Fatima's like, well, you're already a good dad to Michael, and I know that you'll be a good dad to our child and Karen's child. Fatima's like, does this have to do anything with what Aaron said at the hospital? Zach is like, well, you know I didn't have any good role models in my life, and I just want to be the best for my kids. Fatima's like, I know you'll be a good father to all of your kids. Zach is like, I'm not worried about our kids. Co-parenting with Karen comes as a package deal, and me and Karen works out our issues, but me and Aaron haven't. And I don't want to keep beefing with him. Fatima's like, yeah, I can't remember the last time Karen called me out my name. Fatima and Zach are talking, the news comes on, and the first thing they hear is Penelope Williams has been arrested for the stabbing of Gary Porter. And Fatima are like, what the heck is going on? At the salon, Maurice comes to see Pam so we can get some more Rooster Riches. Pam is like, what you need Rooster Riches for? Brenda left a bottle of your Rooster Riches in a car one day, and I seen it, and me and Grayson was in there. And we was about to get it on, and I used it as a little bit. Over at Robin's hotel room, this is who Andy calls when she's at the hospital. We mistaken for Jordan. He's basically like, I need you. And Robin's like, Andy Barnes finally admits that she needs me. Andy's like, I don't need you for me. Andy's like, it's actually for Jordan. Can you represent Penelope Williams? Robin's like, what do I get in return? Andy's like, so you're asking me to do something for you? Robin's like, yeah. Andy's like, you know what you gonna get? Nothing. Robin's like, why can't you just represent her yourself? Andy's like, I'm a divorce attorney, not a criminal. Robin's like, I don't think that's gonna work because I'm already representing you. Andy's like, don't you remember that I fired you? Robin's like, you only did that because you was mad. Then they have this back and forth of, I just want to run the firm. Robin's like, it's my firm and all this other stuff. And Robin's like, if you want me to be honest, you could have been running the firm a long time ago if you didn't allow Gary to drag you down. These feelings are so hurt by that, but the truth hurts sometimes, Andy. You needed to hear it. As Andy's talking to Robin, she gets a text from Fatima, and Andy leaves. Over at the bar, Rich, Tony, and Jordan are all talking about the Penelope situation, and Tony's like, well, Penelope needs a lawyer. Jordan's like, well, you know anybody? That's when he gets a text from Andy. Jordan tells the guys that Andy just texted him about Robin, and Jordan's like, I don't know how that's gonna work because Robin is Andy's ex-boyfriend. It's like, I also don't know if he's credible. Tony looks up Robin, and Tony's like, he's one of the best lawyers around. His reputation is very good, and I don't think he would want to ruin his reputation on strength of Andy. Jordan's like, it's my fault anyway that Penelope's in all this mess. I should never mess with Andy because all roads lead back to her, and she probably thrives off the drama. Rich is like, yeah, you know that. Rich can't stand Andy for whatever reason. I understand that she did your friend dirty, but still. Jordan's like, even after all that, I still love her. Rich is like, for real? Jordan's like, yeah, has a heart attack. Over at the hospital, Walt comes to question Gary, but Hudson stops him, and he's like, what are you doing? Hudson's like, did you find out who stabbed Gary? Walt is like, that's what I'm trying to do. Walt is like, it would make the process go faster if I could finally question him. Hudson's like, well, Gary's not up to it right now. Walt is like, that's funny because from what I heard, he's been taking field trips. Walt is like, what's going on, Hudson? Because the first time he questioned you, you wanted to do everything and anything you can to see who stabbed Gary. Hudson's like, I still do. Walt is like, why you keep stonewalling me then? Is there something that you don't want Gary to tell me now that he's awake? Hudson goes into the fact that he's Gary's power of attorney and he cares about Gary's physical and mental well-being. Hudson's like, if you don't remember, he's been through a tragic accident. And Walt is like, of course I remember. I can't restrict that night of Gary being stabbed. Walt is like, this is why I need to speak to him. He might be the only person that can help me. Walt goes in the room. Hudson's like, do you need me to call security? You forget that I'm Gary's power of attorney. Walt is like, sue me. Gary's like, do I know you? Walt is like, yeah, Gary, we're friends. Gary's like, me and Hudson are friends. Hudson is like, this is Agent Watt. He's here to ask you some questions. Hudson's like, I don't think you should do this. Gary really needs his rest. Watt is like, I understand that he's going through some memory loss, but he's the only person that could really help. Are you okay to answer some questions, Gary? Gary's like, yeah. Watt is like, it seems like you found me. He's like, do you remember the night you were stabbed? Gary's like, yeah. Watt is like, do you actually remember the actual events? Gary's like, not really. Watt is like, close your eyes and just think about what you can remember as I ask you these questions. Watt basically explains everything that happened the night of the wedding, and Gary's like, yeah. But when I turned around, there was a woman. Back over at Zach and Fatima's, Andy finally makes it over there after she got the text from Fatima. Andy's like, what's going on? They basically tell her everything that they heard on the news. They're like, I don't believe that Penelope did it. Andy's like, I don't either. They go over there and show her the suspect board, and Andy's like, y'all really got a suspect board and I'm on there? You think Robin's a suspect? Zach is like, numero uno. Fatima's like, well, he had beef with Gary over you, and he also had beef with Gary for him trying to take the firm. Basically talking about Robin popping up after Gary got stabbed, and Andy's like, you were the first one to tell me about how funny Robin was moving at the law firm. Fatima's like, well, he definitely gave creepo vibes. Andy's like, well, he's representing Penelope now. Fatima's like, well, you might have just sealed her fate by doing it. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications. Bye.